Welcome to the Reticle Up podcast, where I, 3-Gun Kenzie, will be interviewing competitive shooters, hunters, fishermen, archers, entrepreneurs, and outdoorsmen. Come learn with me as I interview people from all walks of life, in different disciplines, all across the world, from novices to professionals of all ages. No matter what, everyone has something they can teach you, so come join me on the journey. The Reticle Up podcast is produced in partnership with AmericanFirearms.org. American Firearms' mission is to recommend what works. We believe everyone deserves access to unbiased, helpful information about firearms, and our buying guides, product reviews, and learning resources are designed to help real people find the stuff that will work best for them. Check us out at www.americanfirearms.org. Hey everyone, welcome back to the Reticle Up podcast. I'm here with Kolby Pavlock. So he's the product development, or he does product development at Volquartsen Firearms. We'll talk about how he kind of got into that role. He's also won the Rimfire Challenge 4 years in a row, so I think he can shoot a little bit of steel challenge. So Kolby.
Yeah, thanks for having me on.
Absolutely. And then he's also a clothing model, so he's got the shirt on right now.
Yep, got a rep.
I love it. I bought that shirt and I saw your picture in there. I'm like, yep, he's a model.
Yeah, they make me do help with marketing stuff, so I get to be a model as well.
I love it. It's something you didn't sign up for, but it happened.
No, not at all.
I love it. So, yeah, I want to start off with, like, your background. Like, where were you raised up, and was firearms, like, part of that lifestyle?
Yeah, so I grew up just outside of Boise, Idaho, in a small town. I grew up hunting with my dad, of course, at a very young age. And then after that, there was a junior shooter magazine was local to me. So my mom got me introduced to them. And so I was with the program for about a year, and then I kind of branched out. MGM did a junior camp out in Parma, Idaho. So I did that a couple of years with the pistol camp and then 3-gun camp as well. And then after that, I kind of just went there on my own and just branched out and did a bunch of different things.
Cool. Now, I didn't know you did a little bit of 3-gun. Did you ever, like, shoot a match?
Oh, yeah, I did. I shot 3-gun for a couple of years. I did. Yeah, we did they had the MGM Ironman out in Idaho. So I did that a couple of years. And then I did a couple matches in Oregon. I didn't get too involved with it. Just with 3-gun, steel challenge, and Uspsa, it was just too much at that time. So I stepped away from 3-gun, but I miss it some days, but I don't like loading shotgun. I don't think anyone does.
I love shotgun. That's my favorite thing in the world to do. Like, I'm going to shoot, if I ever get to go, world shotgun shoot with tac ops, like not a, good. Yeah. I guess I like torture. I don't know.
Yeah, not me. I torture myself with revolver. I don't need I don't need ring shotgun back to it.
I want to talk about revolver at some point too. That's fun. So yeah, for you, I guess, firearms are a way of life, and that's pretty cool because most people don't get that opportunity to, like, grow up in hunting and fishing, and, like, that's intimidating to learn as an adult if you don't have that experience.
Yeah, for sure.
So what all have you hunted? Like, big game, small game?
Small game, big game. Mostly growing up was coyote hunting, deer, mule deer hunting, and elk hunting.
What?
And then a little bit of bird hunting, so like grouse hunting and pheasant hunting. But
wow, what's your favorite?
Yeah. Lately it's been whitetail and mule deer.
Okay. I mean, elk is such good food, like really good.
I love it. Honestly, it's probably my favorite.
Yep.
But after I shot a couple whitetail last year that are eating corn and stuff, that's kind of hard to pass up too.
That's true. So did you learn like how to field dress, and do you actually, like, quarter your own meat, or do you take it to a processor?
Yeah, so like growing up, we did all of our processing at home. So yeah, quartering it, doing all that, and then bringing it home and cutting it up into whatever, steaks, roast, burger. So.
Do you still know how to do all that?
Yeah, actually, I had to take my mule deer that I shot out in Idaho to a butcher this year, which I wasn't very happy about. But other than that, I still like to do it.
So cool. I mean, and so for most of them, are you actually, like, dragging them out, or are you field dressing them there and packing them out, or what do you do?
It depends on, like, where they die. Most of the time, it's I'll just quarter them or gut them at the spot and then pack it out. But usually if I can get a 4-wheeler or a Razor in, I'll just pack it out that way.
It's so cool. I feel like Idaho, this is like normal for most people. Like, you know.
Yeah. Yeah, most definitely.
I'm so jealous. So is that all like gun hunting, or do you do any bow work as well?
So growing up, it was a lot of rifle hunting, and then a couple of years ago, I got into archery hunting, and that's all I've been doing for the past like 4 years.
Okay, so I saw the velvety buck. I was very jealous. Tell me about that story. Like, was that something that you planned for and worked towards and like scouted for a while, put out cameras, or was that, what was that, an outfitter trip?
So it was actually my stepdad and I went out, and it's kind of funny because for like the 2 months leading up to it, I was doing like 8-mile walks throughout the week, just getting ready for hunting season. Mm-hmm. And so I got out there a couple days before season opened. We did a bunch of scouting, and funny enough, I shot my deer opening night sitting down, not doing any walking. So I'm like, I'm glad I worked this hard to just sit here and shoot a deer. But yeah, it was like 15 minutes before no more shooting, and he ran in, and I ended up shooting him at like 45 yards, and wow. He ran like 100 yards and piled up. So
that's so cool. That's so cool.
Yeah.
45 yards is actually a pretty decent shot, especially sitting down. Like,
well, and like it's weird because I go from hunting out west in Idaho where like I practice out to 70 and 80 yards because sometimes you can't get closer than 70 yards on mule deer. So then coming out to Iowa, you're sitting in a tree stand and they're like right below you. So it's a lot different, but
cool,
it's fun.
Yeah. I mean, like you're now at the point where you can just kind of eyeball it, I'm assuming, and you know, like the distance versus some of us that like have to range find.
Yeah. I mean, if I don't keep up with it, sometimes I kind of get rusty with it, but yeah. For the most part, I can kind of just guess with it and be pretty close.
Yeah. So, like, what's your favorite part about the hunt in general? Is it after when all the work begins, or like, what's your favorite?
Honestly, the entire thing. I like getting up there and scouting, seeing what's in the area, and then chasing after them, especially like mule deer. You never know where they're going to be. You can have an idea from scouting the night before, but the next morning, you know, they could be 2 miles away or whatever. So going and chasing them, and then obviously the kill is really rewarding because it obviously killed something, put in all the hard work, and then you get all the meat afterwards too. So I enjoy like all of hunting. There's not a part where I don't like just hate.
Yeah. No, I'm super, super, super jealous of your lifestyle. Like, I didn't get to doing I got addicted for sure when I went with Brian with, you know, Hunter's HG Gold and getting that very first buck. And I'm like, okay, so now I've been putting in the work with the bow to try to do archery hunts because that looks way more fun, like way more fun.
Yeah, I mean, rifle hunting was fun, but once I got into archery, it's a whole different ball game. Like, you got to practice.
Yep.
And I mean, you can't be making a bunch of movement because they're going to see you.
Yeah.
So it's something, yeah, and it's more challenging.
Oh yeah, it's funny. My neighborhood neighbors are like, "What are you doing shooting at your own house?" Like, this is the only yardage I could get without shooting in the direction of vehicles or like where people drive.
Oh yeah, I do the same thing in my backyard. I don't have a fenced-in backyard. So I'm standing at like the front of at the edge of the road and shooting past the garage. So I'm like, I really hope no one calls the police on me.
I've thought the same thing. I have been told, though, because I moved to Eastern Tennessee, I have been told that like dry fire and shooting archery in your backyard is normal around here. So okay. Yeah. What's your bow setup for people like listening that really don't know? I just had a guest on actually last time with talking about his bow setup and how he got into it and learned all of that.
Yeah, so I shoot a Matthews Triax. It's a couple of years old. It's an older bow. But I shoot a single pin sight. The reason I went with I do. Yeah. So hear me out. So shooting pistols and rifles, you know, you're focused on one fiber optic, the front sight. Mm-hmm. So I don't like having 5 different pins and getting flustered with which one I use. Yeah. So I went with the single pin, and for hunting out west, you know, I want something that I can get out to 70, 80 yards. You can't really do that with a fixed pin sight.
Cool. Okay. You're dialing. I mean.
Yeah. Yep.
Wow.
And then, crazy enough, so like Idaho for the longest time didn't allow for mechanical broadheads or lighted nocks. But this year they finally changed the rules to where we could use mechanical broadheads. So I've been using those lately. So
what's the ideology? I don't know. I'm not saying words right behind not having a lighted knot though.
I mean, it's easier to see where you hit the animal. So if it's getting low light and stuff, you kind of have a better idea where, if you don't have a good shot call, you can kind of see where it goes in, and then obviously finding the arrow after it goes through the animal.
But why would they not want that? I feel like that's clean or kill. I mean,
yeah, I honestly have no idea, because Idaho, I mean, for muzzleloader hunting, you still have to use you can't use an inline muzzleloader. You still have to use the old style muzzleloaders. I don't know. I feel like Idaho is still like in the past.
Sure.
So
there's a lot of states like that, but I would think safer hunting, but okay.
Yeah, trust me. I thought the same thing for a long time, but
crazy. Cool. Well, that's something I definitely want to do more of. I'm very jealous of that lifestyle. So very cool. Because I think a lot of people, how much did that velvety deer weigh?
Oh gosh, I don't know. A couple 100 pounds maybe.
Wow.
I mean, it definitely took me and my stepdad to lift it up on a 4-wheeler after gutting them. So
yeah. Do you know how much like weight of meat you pulled out too?
I think it was probably right around 50 pounds of meat.
Okay, that's decent.
Yeah, so slowly filling up the freezer.
Heck yeah. That's an early start too. That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
So for everything Rimfire and Steel Challenge and all of that, is that something that your dad got you into, or like where did you even learn about that sport?
So funny enough, like going back to when I started the whole junior shooter program. So that was one of my mom's friends had kids in the program, and I went out and watched it. I'm like, okay, this is cool. And they were doing a lot of 3-gun practice and a little bit of Steel Challenge. So with that, the program, and then my local range actually did Steel Challenge like Monday and Wednesday nights during the week. So I started going out there like every week, getting practice and just hanging out and meeting new people and just getting practice in. So
cool. Okay. So you learned about all of that. Like, when did you sign up for your first match? Like, and how old were you?
My first big match was the Ruger Rimfire Challenge out in Parma, and that was September of 2012 was my first big match.
Okay, and you were like what, 8?
No, I was like 12.
Okay.
Yeah, so it feels like forever ago, but it's
sure.
I mean, it's like 12 years ago, 11 years ago.
Yeah. Did you use like a 10-22 rifle for your first?
Yeah, so crazy enough, like I started out with a bone stock rifle, and I actually went into a local gun shop and found an old Mark II 22-45 pistol, and I shot that for a long time.
That's awesome. Okay.
Yeah.
Were you like an iron shooter or optics, or?
I started out with iron sights. I shot iron sights probably for 9 years, 10 years. I just barely started shooting red dots a couple of years ago.
Yeah. They're a totally different ball game, in my opinion. I think they're hard.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I think, and that's why like I wanted to start with iron sights, just to get the fundamentals down, and then going to a red dot was almost a little bit easier to go to after shooting iron sights for a while.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it'd be harder to do the reverse. Do you think you're faster? Do you think you're faster with irons than a red dot? That's been the argument of a lot of Steel Challenge shooters.
So I shot with shooting iron sights for the longest time. On a rifle, I was definitely faster with iron sights than with a red dot. But that was just because I shot it for so long. So I'm still trying to figure out like the whole fundamental thing. But pistol, I mean, after I've shot like my peak times with my iron sight pistol and then peak times with my open sight pistol, I mean, open pistol is a lot faster.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know. It just depends. And then like for Rimfire Challenge, I shot iron sights the 4 years that I won it, and that was up against people shooting red dots. So,
okay, that's kind of cool. Okay, so I want to know your progression for you. Like again, junior camp, and you just started shooting a lot. But did you actually set your sights on going to win like Rimfire Challenge when you did, or like when did you take the game seriously, or was this just fun for you?
I think the first couple years it was kind of fun. It was just fun times and just getting to know more people and just getting the time in. And then after that, after getting a couple matches under my belt, I'm like, I really want to put in the time and effort, and I want to win matches, especially bigger ones. So 2015 was the first Rimfire Challenge that I won the world match. So the year leading up to it, I was doing a lot of training, and I'm like, I want to win. And so I don't know. It's at first it was fun, and then it kind of got serious after that.
Have you experienced burnout?
I'm slowly getting to that point. Yes.
Yeah, you and me both. Okay, that's kind of cool though. I mean, there's not a lot of people that dedicate their time, and especially at a young age, to go and win the thing, right?
Yeah.
So especially for like 22 and rimfire and stuff, like what does dry fire look like? What does practice look like? Was that just reps on reps on reps for stages, or what do you do?
Yeah. So I'd say back when I was in my prime, because I don't shoot a whole lot like lately. But it was really just going out to that Monday and Wednesday night steel challenge, shooting those matches, because we'd shoot 4 stages a night. And then for dry fire, it's funny because I'd have like pictures up in my room, and I'd use those as targets to dry fire on.
Yeah.
But it was usually like 30 minutes to an hour long of dry fire.
Nice.
So.
Okay, so Monday nights and dry fire, that's it. Got you there.
Yeah.
No way.
Monday and Wednesday. Yeah. Yep.
Okay. So, I mean, were your parents like super supportive of all of this? Is this something where school came first and then you had to put in the work for shooting, or?
Yeah, I mean, definitely school came first. Like that was a main priority. Shooting came second, but it was still high on the priority. My parents were really supportive of it. Obviously, my dad wanted me to play sports, and I found shooting. So we had a little love-hate relationship for a little bit, but we worked it out, and yeah, they're
American
super
than
supportive.
shooting. Like, come on, Dad.
I know. Like growing up hunting, being around guns, I thought we'd be cool with it, but it is what it is. We're all good now, so.
Yeah. No. If you had chosen, like, I guess, a traditional sport, what would it have been?
Oof, I don't know. Probably football, but like I did a couple years of football, like middle school, and it just wasn't for me. It's crazy sounding, but I'm not like a big team person, like a team sport. I like individual because I want to see my progression and all the time that I put in for the results instead of it being a whole team thing.
I think it's funny. When you said team, I think about like groups and team projects in college and master's degree.
Yeah.
And I hated them because I'm like super type A. I did all the work. I wanted to be done early, and like having your grade rely on a bunch of other people. Like, what?
Yeah, no, thank you. I'm definitely not that kind of person.
No, and I'm paying for college. So, okay, I know we haven't gotten there yet, but just really quick, did you ever go to college?
I did. So it's funny. So I went to just a community college for an associate's degree. And so I finished my first year, and then I moved to Florida for 3 months. So
3 months?
that kind of, that's a whole story that we can talk about off camera.
Okay.
But so I lived in Florida for a couple months, and I moved back like right after the deadline for the semester to start back up. So I had to wait a whole year. So yeah, because I did machining, and it was like a 2-year program, and you did like the first year was all manual machining, and the second year was CNC. But you kind of followed the class, so I had to wait till the following year to get back into it. But yeah, so I went to college for 2 years and got my associates. But
okay. And for people that don't know, because it's impressive, how old are you?
I'm 23.
Yeah, it's really cool. It's really cool. Okay, so going back, so you got like all of the work that you're putting into. So you're doing rimfire though. Did you ever do like center fire as well?
Yeah, so during while I was shooting Steel Challenge, I was also shooting Uspsa. I started out shooting limited. I did that for a while.
Limited minor?
I started out limited minor. I classified master class with limited minor.
What?
Yeah, and then I finally got a 40 and shot that for a couple of years, and then I decided to shoot open, and I did that for a couple of years, and then I went to carry optics. So
did you make GM in USPSA?
I did.
That's really impressive. Okay.
Yeah, I don't like bragging, but I do have
that's cool.
A GM in limited, open, and carry optics.
Yeah, I've seen it with Steel Challenge, people coming over into USPSA. Like, yeah, movement is very, very hard. But I think when you've got your transitions, your eye speed, your calling your shots, and all of that, I think it directly correlates into the sport.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah. That's pretty cool. Okay, sorry, I digress. Where were we? Centerfire. Okay.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, so centerfire, rimfire, and then obviously I see a reloader in the background. Was part of like you getting into this, like, were you required to pick up brass and reload, or yeah?
Yeah, I mean, that was the only way, I wouldn't say the only way that I could make, shooting, especially centerfire, possible. But it definitely, we couldn't afford going out and buying, 2,000 rounds for the junior camp.
Yeah.
And it was funny because the first year of junior camp, I didn't have my progressive, and I had to load 1,000 rounds of 9mm. So we loaded 1,000 rounds on my single stage press.
Okay.
It literally took us like 6 hours. It was miserable.
I think that teaches you hard work, determination, and that like you have to put in the effort. Oh my God.
Yeah. And I think I went to bed and my mom and dad stayed up reloading.
Oh, that's good parents though.
I know.
I feel like it sucks as a junior if you don't have supportive parents. I mean, there's no way you can afford it unless you like really pay for it. But yeah, like those parents, they put in more work than kids do sometimes. Not always, but they do a lot.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree.
So what changed for you like over the years as you like, because I've never been a junior shooter. Like I got in as an adult. What did that change feel like? Was there much of a change?
I mean, there was a little bit of change because obviously a junior cuts off at 18. So at that point I had 6 years of shooting. So really jumping ahead into the adult category, I guess so to say, it really wasn't a big deal because I've been shooting with a lot of these guys for the past 6 years. So it just felt normal. And it didn't really change a whole lot personally.
Yeah. I mean, and I've seen, so Chris Berry grow up. I've seen Grant Knuckle grow up. You, obviously. So, like, who are some other of the top people, like, in your age bracket that are all, like, coming up in the shooting sports together?
So it's funny because, like, looking back at the junior camps, there's only a handful of us that are still, like, competing. So, like, Christian Saylor, James DeLambert, he lives up in Wisconsin.
Oh, yeah. Yep, shoots for federal.
Yep, and then Kolby Hunter, he took a couple years off, but he's starting to get back into it with him being with the Border Patrol.
Okay.
But other than that, like a lot of them I shot with for a couple years, and then they found college and just wanted to step away. So there's only a handful of people that I started out with that are still shooting.
So the joke is,
gosh,
the joke is like when the junior guy shooters finally find women.
Oh yeah. It's funny you say that because like everyone at my local club was like, "Oh, you're gonna find a girl and you're gonna stop shooting." Mm-hmm. That didn't happen. Like I had a girlfriend for a little bit, but it didn't change like the way I felt about shooting. Like I still number one priority was school, and because at that point I had a couple years into it. I'm like, I'm not just gonna drop it because it's opened up so many opportunities for me.
Yeah, absolutely. Do you remember like who was your very first sponsor for you?
The first one was Hawk Tech Arms. It was just a local gun store where I grew up, and then it was Tactical Solutions. Funny enough.
Okay. Yeah.
So yeah, kind of weird blood there, but.
Oh, okay. Well, we'll skip over that.
Yep.
What was that feeling though? You said like just that word stuck out to me because it's not just a local gun store, right? That's a store that believed in you. People like time and effort, which is pretty cool. And that's a first that like almost solidified like the work that you're putting in, right? So what did that feel like?
It felt rewarding, because like I was putting in the time, I'm shooting, someone's watching me, seeing me grow or get better, and for them to, ask to be a sponsor or whatever, it was awesome. I was kind of like all jittery because I was young at that time, and I was like, oh, this is cool.
Absolutely. And as things progress, like, did a lot of these companies or all of them reach out to you, or like
for the
relationships come? Yeah,
for the most, a lot of them reached out to me. There was a couple I reached out to, but yeah, a lot of them came to me.
That's awesome. So. Okay, so what's like your favorite division to shoot?
Lately it's been revolver.
No way.
Yeah, I'm serious.
Okay, so you're on the Hope team, right?
Yes.
Okay. First of all, how did you get on the Hogue team? How many are actually on there? And then, like, in all seriousness, because I want to shoot it. That's the one division I haven't shot ever. How does someone get into it? What would be the gun, the gear, and, like, how do you learn how to shoot a revolver? It sounds stupid. Yeah.
Oh no, it's not stupid. Like I'm still learning how to shoot a revolver. But it was probably 2016 or 2017 when Steel Challenge was in San Luis Obispo, which is in California. Mm-hmm. And I've known them for a little bit, and then they kind of approached me like, "Hey, you want to be on the team?" So I've been shooting with them for a couple of years now. But then for revolver, I got my trusty 929 here. Nice. So I bought this 929 from Steve Foster, actually.
Oh, I'm jealous. Steve, you didn't call me first. Come on, bro.
Well, it's funny because Michael Pogge and the guy I'm going to watch Formula One with, we were at World Speed, and they're like, "You need to buy a revolver and come shoot with us." I'm like, I don't know. Like, it just doesn't sound fun. Mm-hmm. Well, they kept bugging me about it, and I'm like, fine. So I bought this from Steve, sent it off to get an action job and all that stuff done.
Who did that?
And ever since, David Alhasso.
Okay.
So he shoots for Ruger now. But yeah, so I've been shooting revolver for about a year now.
Okay.
And I absolutely love it.
So ever since like Steve sold you the gun, then you're getting hooked.
Yeah.
So I watched him shoot that at Metal Madness, and obviously you are very limited on shots. Reloading is really not a thing.
Yeah, no, it's you got eight shots and you're done for. Then you got to do a reload.
Yeah. So how did you teach yourself visual patience and trigger pull and all of that? Because it is totally completely different mentally with a revolver with limited shots.
Oh, yeah, for sure. I don't know. With Rimfire, you're limited to, at least with the guns I shoot, 11 rounds. So I kind of already have that in the back of my head. Like, I'm already down limited rounds. The biggest thing was for revolver was figuring out grip, reload, and the trigger, of course, because I'm going from a 2-pound trigger on my 22s to a 5-pound trigger on my revolver. That's like an inch long of travel. But really, it's just putting in a lot of dry fire time, working on reloads and just watching the red dot as you pull the trigger. Because I learned, this is from talking with Michael Pogge for a while, like the way you have your trigger placed on the actual trigger shoe changes. Like, it's weird. Instead of being able to pull straight back, obviously you pull one way or another if you don't have your finger on there properly. Mm-hmm. And then I just watching videos of Michael and Jerry shooting it, just kind of go through dry fire, and
that's awesome.
Put in the time.
So YouTube.
Yeah.
YouTube. Okay. In serious, I'm gonna ask questions for me. So, are you using your first knuckle to pull the trigger?
Yeah. So it's like I'm like fully, my trigger finger is like fully inside. Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
How do you reload? Can you do both hands?
I do strong hand reload.
Strong hand reload. Okay.
Yeah. So I do all the stuff. Drop the moon with my left hand, and then I dump. It's pretty much how Jerry reloads. Okay. So you up and then down, and then throwing it in and bringing the gun back up.
Okay. Wow.
So.
Okay.
Yeah, it's going from like center fire shooting open where you only have one mag to worry about to go into this. It's a whole different game.
Oh yeah. I think it's interesting the visual patience that you have to have.
Yes.
Yeah. That's cool though. Okay, so 929. What dot do you use? Vortex.
Vortex Razor.
Vortex. Yep. Yeah. Okay, cool. That's awesome. So open carry optics, all that now with the red dots and stuff and revolver. Like, what would be your goals with those guns right now? What are you working towards? Or can you? It doesn't sound like you have time-ish.
Well, I know. With revolver, I want to win. I want to beat Michael Pogge at the IRC. So that's the revolver championship. Mm-hmm. That's my main goal, and to beat him at Steel Challenge.
Okay, I know, I like that. I have goals with one of my buddies, but that helps.
And it's crazy because like I shot my revolver at World Speed this year, and my main goal was to break 100 seconds with my revolver because there's only been 2 people to do it, Michael and Jerry.
Wow.
So I ended up shooting like a 97.59 or something.
Did it?
So I was like, damn, okay.
Okay, so you're third. There's only 3 of you now.
Yeah.
That's impressive, Kolby.
Yeah, I was pretty happy with it.
Yeah. I that's a testament to people that I talk to that are on a different level than me for sure. But like they put the goal out there and they do it. That's impressive. 3 people in the whole entire country. I don't care if it's like a smaller category of revolver shooters. That's still cool.
Yeah, and then like the next goal is to break 90 seconds with my revolver, which that's gonna be a treat to do.
I'm assuming Jerry and Michael can do that.
Yep.
Oh yeah. Have you ever trained with Jerry?
I haven't trained with Jerry, but I shot the IRC last year, and that was down at Jerry's place.
Right.
So I did get to be in the same vicinity as him and shoot with him. So
same vicinity. I'm assuming like that was kind of like a hero of yours, or is.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely watched a lot of his videos growing up, starting out in the shooting world. Yeah. I definitely watched a lot of his videos, so it's cool to look up to him.
Was that the first time you got to meet him?
I met him at SHOT Show a couple years ago. I don't remember when it was, but I did get to meet him at SHOT Show.
Cool. Yeah, he's like the coolest dude ever. Just cool, chill old man on the range. Like, what's up, Jerry?
Yep.
Awesome. So yeah, I know like the career with Volquartsen's interesting because you moved to work, but I also want to know like how did the relationship with Volquartsen come about in general, just to get to know Scott and the team there, and then how did you end up all the way to like working with them?
So I'm gonna back it up to like 2016. I had left Tactical Solutions, and I was at SHOT Show that following year. SHOT Show 2016. I went to SHOT Show. I stopped in at the Volquartsen booth. Like Volquartsen guns that I'd always wanted to shoot. Like they look good. They always ran, and I'm like, I want to shoot their stuff. So I went over to their booth at SHOT Show, talked to Scott for a little bit, and then Hawk Tech Arms, the guy that owns it, since he was my first sponsor, he kind of threw in a good word for me. And so later, it was that same year at SHOT Show, Scott was like, hey, I want to have a meeting with you and, figure some stuff out. And so that was the time that I started on the team. It was 2016 or 2017.
And you're 16 years old at that point.
Yeah, 16, 17.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. So that's been a dream since like I started shooting rimfire. It was like be part of the Volquartsen team because it's small. Everyone knows each other. It's like family. Yeah. So I was on the team. I'm still on the team, of course. But I was going to school. I was finishing up. I was starting my last year of college, and I get a phone call from Scott, and he's like, "Hey, we want you to come on and do product development for us." And I'm like, "No way!" Like designing guns, testing, like that's something that's something I've always wanted to do because I did machining in high school, and obviously being in the competitive shooting, like that was a dream job.
Yep.
And so I told him, I'm like, "It's my last year of college. I would like to finish it. If you can hold the position, I will take it, and I'll move out as soon as I'm done with school." And so he held the job for me, and I moved out. 2020 in May.
So you moved during COVID, like I did.
Yeah.
Good job, bud.
Yeah. Job. And graduated college with the whole right when COVID started, and it was a shit show. But yeah.
Yeah, that's cool. So 2016 with SHOT Show, was that your last SHOT Show until working with Volquartsen?
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah, so you hadn't been back in a minute. Okay. And 2020 was the last one. 2021 didn't happen. Okay, I'm trying to get my bearings here.
I know. All my years kind of are all mashed together at this point.
It's cool, though. It's cool. Obviously, I had Scott on the podcast, and what they do, having a family business and something that passes down for generations and stuff, but what they do, they're so innovative. I know you guys have released a couple new products. What does your day-to-day look like? It probably changes, but what does your day-to-day look like, and how are you involved with those guns that come out?
Yeah, so obviously my main job title is product development. So we released the Vt2 Takedown Rifle back in February. Mm-hmm. So I worked on that for a little over, pretty much since I started. It's a year and a half. I worked on that gun.
Wow. Did you have to keep this quiet for a year and a half?
Yeah.
Yeah. How many iterations too?
We went through 3 or 4 iterations.
Okay.
So a lot of it was in the takedown mechanism that we messed around with a lot.
Yep.
So after we did that, there's been couple other little products that I've helped design and we came out with. But lately, my day to day, if I don't have any stuff to work on or design, I help with assembly and I help with the repairs. And then obviously marketing, like you said, with the model status. But yeah, I mean, it just really depends on what we want to come out with for the following year, or just stuff that needs fixed or what we can improve on.
Yeah. So I know you're, again, younger guy for sure, and growing up in a totally different way that I did in the industry. How have you seen the industry change, whether it's marketing or the people that have come and gone, or just like with firearms development in general? Like, have you noticed?
I think it's, since I started, I think the development of firearms has definitely changed in a really good way. A lot of new innovative stuff has come out over the last 10 years, of course. But marketing, like when I first started, the social media kind of was a thing. And then the last couple of years, obviously social media has just blown off, out of the world. So trying to get with the whole social media thing, I try to keep up with it. I'm not a huge fan of social media. But other than that, I think it's gone in a really good direction forward.
Yeah, for sure. So Volquartsen, still want to talk about that. Obviously, you work with Ruger because a lot of those products are Ruger based. I'm sure you work a little bit with Tandem Cross because they support aftermarket stuff with those guns and stuff. How much interaction are you having with like other companies, other engineers of these companies to make sure like everything's like compatible or has aftermarket support, or are you?
We kind of look at it a way like we're going to make something that's going to work with Ruger part or like factory parts. We don't get into a whole lot of making sure that that our guns or parts are compatible with other aftermarket parts, because we want ours to be ours. We don't want to start mixing stuff. So we try to make our stuff best of the best, and so we don't have to worry about other aftermarket parts.
Yep.
So,
in your opinion, too, like, I mean, again, you get to see it all. Volquartsen is the pinnacle of success for 22s. Like, what makes your company like so different and just makes 22s run? Like, what's the magic?
I honestly think with Scott and Nick, his brother, taking the company from his dad and having it for such a long time, I think that's a big key. But also like the processes we do, like our bolts, we do that DLC coating, which besides AR-15s, no one else really does it in 22s. We do a laser hardened breech face on our barrels, which no one else does. So with a constant beating of the bolt, you really don't have to worry about that breech face wearing down over time, like some other barrels do.
Yeah.
And then just the time and craftsmanship that go into each firearm that's built.
Yep. So I see you have is it the Aguila? How do I say that?
Aguila,
yeah. See that gun on the table. Do you want to kind of go through that gun?
This one?
Yeah.
Well, so this is actually, so back to the Formula One, me and you like in Formula One.
Yep.
So this is our Scorpion X pistol. So I'm a big Red Bull fan.
Yep.
So, and a big Max fan. So I actually So I sent my pistol off to Razor's Edge, and I'm like, I sent him a picture of the Red Bull car, and I sent Max's logo. So he painted it like their Formula One car, and then put Max's logo on top.
It's so cool. It's so cool.
Yeah.
I love it. People hate on Red Bull. I don't know if I've mentioned this in other podcasts. Like when I was in grad school for marketing, it was funny because we did case studies on companies and what they did right. And like for me, it was never about the energy drink. It still isn't, right? It's the fact that they have somebody's dropping from space and like you've got the Formula One, these superior athletes and in sports that aren't traditional sports either. I mean, like I was going to the surfing events all the time, but it's so cool, the innovation that they've had around that kind of stuff and supporting that.
Yeah, it's crazy. Like I was out in Colorado at a revolver match, and the guys I was staying with, he showed me Sail GP. Have you heard of that?
Mm-mm.
So they're sailboats that are made from carbon fiber. They have like 30-foot tall, I don't know what you call them, the
sails,
flags or sails. Yeah. But they do sailboat racing, and it is insane.
Okay.
You should check it out. It's insane.
Okay. I remember going to the cliff diving spot that's in Ireland when I was there, like the square, which is supposed to be like Thor's hammer because it's really cool. But I'll check that out.
Yeah, it's something crazy. I never heard of it until he showed me. So, but yeah, it's crazy the amount of stuff or different sports that Red Bull's associated with.
Sorry, listeners, we've digressed. But if that was important, I love it. But okay, so those Volquartsen Firearms, though, like, do you want to explain how they're built on Ruger lowers and that, like, what you guys actually make, and any of the other guns as well?
Yeah. So obviously, our Scorpion pistol is based off the Ruger Mark III. So that has the old mainspring that everyone hates, because it's a pain in the butt to take apart. But our Scorpion pistol, everything is machined in house. So that's the frame, trigger, all the internal parts. And then I marked my Mambas in the safe. But so the Black Mamba, the Mark IV, everything is our part except for the frame and all the actual Ruger patented parts. So everything, trigger, magazine release, sear, everything is ours. And then our rifles, I mean, everything is ours. We don't use any factory parts in that. That's our complete gun.
Yeah. Yeah. And then you make the stocks too. I mean, all of that's wooden, like hand, like how do you build the stocks?
So they're laminate wood stocks. And we have a guy in Carroll that actually used to work for Volquartsen, but now he just makes our stocks.
Cool.
But he has two CNC routers. He'll rough out all the shape of the stock, and then he'll actually go in and hand sand all the stocks.
Wow.
Yeah. So
that's impressive. So it's funny and interesting about what Scott was telling me on the customer service side when we were on the podcast is that people call up and obviously they're like, we want to talk to a man. But not just that, is I have to ask you, what's like the top 3 things that people call in and ask for help with?
So I don't work with a whole lot of, I don't answer phones.
Yeah.
So I couldn't give you like 3 exact things.
Sure.
But I think a lot of it could be with our Scorpion pistols, like how do you take the upper off the lower with the whole mainspring? Yeah, I don't know. There's so many things that like I hear that I help with repairs, but I couldn't say like 3 things that are common. So
that's fair. The other thing I want to talk about, I know it's silly, but probably like the 22 LR platform has been known to like you have to keep it clean or like have high maintenance. So what are some things that you see like 22 owners like do poorly that they need to improve upon?
So funny enough, when people's 22 stop running, they think I need to put more oil on it. That is the worst thing to do with the 22, just because the 22 has so much wax and the lead builds up, and so you get more oil in it, and it just becomes a mess. Like nothing works properly. So I actually run my 22s dry, like completely dry.
Really?
Yep.
Okay. Do you lube your ammo or anything, or just?
Nope.
Okay. So that's a common misconception. Anything else?
I think some people think I'm crazy, but I actually put oil down inside my magazines when it gets cold. It helps with the feeding because the wax gets cold and sticks. And then I also, when it's cold, I put my ammo in with some hand warmers to keep it warm.
Oh, I like that. Oh, yeah.
Yep, keeps it warm because like that wax just it gets hard and then it causes problems. I learned that over the years.
Yeah, I was gonna say shotgun shooters. They put their shells in coolers so they don't swell because then they won't feed or chamber. Yeah, that's kind of interesting.
Yeah, so we're going the opposite way. We're making sure the ammo stays warm.
I love it. Okay, do you have like top 3 most reliable ammunition that you have ran or have seen run like the best?
So we do a lot of our testing at work with CCI standard velocity, CCI mini mag. Really any standard velocity ammo is, I find, to be the most reliable out of our guns.
Okay. Does bullet profile matter?
It can to a certain point. Like Ely has their 10X ammo and it's got a super flat point, and sometimes that'll have feeding problems. But like the mini mags, in any round nose is going to work just fine.
Yeah. Okay. Anything else you want to add there?
No, I think I'm a little picky when it comes to cleaning my 22s. Like, obviously working and being with Volquartsen for a while, like I'll strip my gun completely down, like rip everything out of the gun and clean it. But I'm a clean freak when it comes to my guns.
Yeah. I am right before a major match, like the night before.
Oh yeah, yep. I'll do the same thing. And I'm like, I pray this works tomorrow.
Mm-hmm. Hotel towels. I apologize so much, but your rooms are expensive.
Yeah. Yep.
Oh, so okay. Do you know how many matches that you traveled around the country for?
No, I couldn't. No.
Do you probably know how much you spent?
What's that?
I said, do you know how much you spent traveling across the country?
A lot of time.
Yeah.
Honestly, I'd probably say like big matches in the last 11 years, probably close to 100 matches.
Yeah. Yeah.
Something like that. I don't know. I don't really I used to keep pretty good track of like how all the matches I went to and like my results and stuff, but I kind of just let it go.
When you get an adult and you have a job, it's hard to like want.
When you have responsibilities, it's a lot hard.
Yep.
A lot harder.
Yep. Do you have some favorite memories from these matches? Whether it's people or a win or something happened that stick out?
Obviously, I think the biggest, like, proudest, moment was winning the Rimfire Challenge my first year. That was pretty crazy. I remember that was last year BJ Norris shot it, and he didn't stay for awards, but I ended up beating him with iron sights, which I'm like, that's pretty crazy because I was 16. Yeah, I'm like, how is that even possible? Like, I'm 16. He's, a lot older than me, and he's been shooting a lot longer. But gosh, there's so many different memories. Like I've had back to my 3-gun days. I was in Oregon shooting the Bend 3-gun match. I can't remember which one it was, but I had sliced my pinky down to the bone on my shotgun.
What?
Yeah, I was cleaning it after the first or second day, and I'm trying to get the barrel back over the magazine tube, and it slipped.
Mm-mm.
Yeah, I went down to the bone, so that was an emergency trip.
You sound like me.
Yeah, I had like a big old bandage, and I tried shooting the next day. It wasn't fun.
So you went to the ER, woke up, and started shooting again.
Yeah.
Boys. Okay.
Yep. Gosh, I don't know. What else would be one that really stuck out? I don't know. There's so many. I mean, I could go on for hours and talking about it.
I think it's important. Like where I'm getting at really is just the camaraderie of the sport, growing up around the same people, seeing people from across the country. Like it's normal now for me to see people in different states more than my family.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, it's every weekend. I'm like, hi guys. But how weird is that? Yeah,
it's crazy. Like shooting with the same people for like the past 11 years is pretty cool. Seeing, them get better and just seeing a bunch of different people. Like I hadn't been out to California to shoot Area 2 or that match in a couple years. So it was nice to see some old faces and just catch up with them. So I do at this point, like I still enjoy shooting, but I like seeing and meeting up with people now and just catching up.
Yeah, absolutely. So like career wise with Volquartsen, I'm sure, like, did you go to Brownells Day with them?
Yeah, the gun con thing.
Yeah, that's awesome. Okay. And then I'm assuming SHOT Show and all that as well. What is it like going to those events? Was that I know you went in 2016, but is it like a bigger deal now to you?
I'd say so. Yeah, just because I'm part of the company and I'm doing product development, so I can go up and pretty much talk about any gun and kind of dive into the details with it. So I really enjoy that because I like the technical side of stuff. So I like to talk to people and show people how things work.
That's awesome. So career wise, because you set goals for shooting, do you have career goals?
Besides this being a dream job, eventually I would like to start my own business, but I don't know when that foreseeable time would be.
Sure. Yeah. And there is no timeline, I think, on starting a business. I think that's what's really cool is entrepreneurs are of all ages, all backgrounds. I've seen it. I mean, that's cool. Yeah.
It definitely would be in the gun industry. But I don't know. I've tossed around a bunch of ideas.
Yeah. Okay, so switching gears to the one thing I know you talked about earlier that you don't want to talk about, but it's great. Social media.
Yes. Yep.
Because you and I had this conversation offline. I know Scott and I have talked as well. It's really hard, I think, for people that know their business or their industry or whatever to shine on social media because it's all about influencers or pictures or whatever's hot, right? It's how do you see, like, why do you persevere, I guess, with posting on social media? And like, how do you see even like YouTube, right? That's what taught you how to do certain things. So why do you find it valuable?
I think it's valuable because it gets for me, it gets my shooting out to everyone. Like, anyone can see it. Same with YouTube. I'll try to post a lot of my bigger matches. I don't think it gets a lot of traffic, which is okay. But at least for Instagram and Facebook, it's just being able to show like my progression throughout the years, and so other people can see it. And if people like newer kids are starting, they can ask me questions, and we can go from there.
Yeah. Yeah. Did your parents help manage that growing up, or was that just you?
My mom would help me quite a bit with it. My dad stayed away from it. He didn't really care for it. But it was mostly my mom. She would help me like write up the captions and stuff for posts and pictures. So,
but I think that's important for junior shooters to have that.
Yes.
I mean, yeah.
Yeah.
Especially because the things that you can see or come in.
Yeah.
I won't even go there. But anyways, I know like Instagram, Facebook, obviously, like the more 2A content that's out there, like the more that we're getting suppressed, right? So that's kind of like a fine line of, you know, we want that views. We can't really pay to play. There's really nothing we can do at this point unless it's word of mouth or like social media. Like I've seen it grow just because you've gone to an event. Like it's all word of mouth, I think, now in our industry.
Yeah, I totally agree. I think it'll always be word of mouth. I mean, social media will have some influence on it, but with them shadow banning a lot of stuff and not being able to see, I mean, word of mouth is always going to be better than social media.
Yeah, absolutely. One thing, I mean, I've noticed like you, Volquartsen does like firearm videos. So do you want to talk a little bit about like the library of resources of what you guys put together?
Yeah. So we do a lot of install videos, and whether that be how to install a 1022 bolt into your factory receiver, Accurizing Kit, that's a big one. A lot of people struggle with an Accurizing Kit. So we do videos for the Mark II, Mark III, and the Mark IV. Pretty much if we get with the customer service and if they have a bunch of calls on a topic that we could do a video on, we're going to do a video. So we don't have to, you know, instead of them sending the gun in, you know, we can send the video out to them, and they can, if they feel up to the task, they can do it.
Yep.
But we do a lot of install videos, product videos. So we'll kind of go over what we're, you know, a new gun. So like the Scorpion X, the NV. And then we do a lot of lifestyle videos too. So, whether that be at GunCon or World Speed. So there's a bunch of different kind of videos that we have on our website.
I think that's what Volquartsen does really well, is like the media.
Yeah. Yep.
I think Tandem Cross does a good job of that too, because I have been that person that I want to do it all myself, so I try.
Yeah. Yep.
But that's neat. I think it sucks that content like that is suppressed because it's all educational.
Oh yeah.
So helpful. I remember I still haven't been able to find one for my Birdie, my lever action rifle. I've taken that thing apart and I cannot put it back together. It's all in Italian, like the manual's in Italian. I'm like, this is not helpful.
Yeah, no, don't ask me for help with that.
Yeah, no. You probably figure it out in like a minute. I'm sure.
Probably can.
Yeah, you're a machine guy. So wrapping up here too, I want to ask you about like concealed carry and stuff. Like for you, is that something like that's important to you? I don't know the ages with Idaho. Was that something you started at 21 or?
So Idaho, they actually started. You could get your concealed carry license at 18.
Like Alabama. Okay.
Yep. You couldn't really do a whole lot with it at 18. It was very restricted. So I got my concealed carry permit at 18. And then when I turned 21, it pretty much just transfers into enhanced or whatever you want at that time. But I think for me personally, it's a big deal. Just the way this world is these days, it's kind of scary. So having the personal protection makes me feel a lot better.
Yeah. Have you helped a lot of like new shooters, like whether get into competition or learn how to use their firearm, or get a concealed carry permit?
I haven't really done a whole lot with the concealed carry permit, but we actually have an SASP team local here.
Okay.
So I helped, and I still help a little bit with the coaching on that.
Coach Kolby. Look
yep,
at that.
Coach Kolby. Yep.
Full circle. That's super cool though, because SASP is so underrated. That's what got me started in college at FSU. And I wish there were more of those. I wish every single college or every single high school or whatever had like 4-H and junior camp and SASP.
Oh yeah.
It's not fair.
But other than the coaching of the team, I'll do a couple of classes here and there. I definitely want to get more into it. And give back to the community that's helped me out for the last 10 years.
Yeah, you'd be a great instructor, especially on visual patience. Okay, so I was going to talk about the last little bit here on like how new shooters get into the sport, but also,
okay,
I'm going to skip a step. How did you learn visual patience with steel? Because I feel like you can get that immediate reactive, like whether you hit the steel, whether you didn't hit the steel, and then it gets really painful when you don't keep hitting the steel. So what's going through your mind and how do you mentally challenge yourself?
I mean, steel challenge, it's kind of to the point now, like shooting it for so long, steel challenge is almost muscle memory. So I'm slowly getting burnout on steel challenge just because I've been doing it for so long.
It's the same stages for the last.
It's the same stages. Forever. And like, I know where I can be, and if I have a bad day, even if it's off by like 3 seconds, I'm disappointed in myself because I know where I'm supposed to be.
Yeah.
That's why I like Rimfire Challenge a little bit more. All the stages are completely different at every match.
Yep.
I tell people I think Rimfire Challenge really tells you who the best rimfire shooter is.
Yeah.
Because muscle memory, I mean, we can all at some point get the muscle memory down.
Yeah. And everybody with steel challenge, it might be different ways to shoot the steel, but they've practiced it a bajillion times over and over again.
Yeah, I can't even tell you how many times I've shot the 8 stages. It's a lot.
It's probably gross. Yeah, I don't want to know.
Yeah, too many times.
But Rimfire Challenge, I mean, I know I had someone else, I can't remember who, talk about that. Do you want to talk about the difference in Rimfire Challenge, like what those division stages, what that... You've talked a little bit about it, like it's different stuff.
Yeah, so Steel Challenge, obviously you have the same 8 stages throughout the U.S. Rimfire Challenge, you can have anywhere up to 7 targets, and they can be anywhere. I think they do, smallest plate is a 6-inch or an 8-inch diameter plate. But it can be set up however the match director wants to set it up. So, you could have a bunch of tight targets where it's super fast, or you can have stages. I remember 3 years ago at Rimfire World, they had stages that were like 3.5 second strings, which felt forever compared to what we're used to.
Yeah. Sure.
So I think it really tells, especially shooting iron sights, you really got to focus on it. It's not just, let me blaze it down and muscle memory it. You really got to focus on your sights and be patient with it.
Yeah.
So that's what I enjoyed a little bit more.
Okay. And USPSA, is that something you're getting more into, or is that something that like you tried, might come back to?
I shot USPSA pretty much since I started. I actually haven't shot a USPSA match in like 2 years.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just, I don't know, like moving out here, the closest range is an hour and a half for a local match. Ooh. So it's hard to justify going to shoot in a local match.
Why don't you guys start one?
We don't have a range big enough.
Oh, wow. Okay,
yeah.
This is the problem with this country. We need 7,000 more shooting ranges and less golf ranges, please.
I don't know. We can have a couple more golf courses.
No, or we can have both, where I can shoot them with shotgun when they go into the air. Like I don't.
Yeah. But I don't know. Like I enjoy shooting USPSA. I think lately it's gotten a little too political for me.
We don't have to go there. Yeah.
Yeah. So that's why I started shooting revolver. Like it's completely different. It's
super
something
fun.
that it's new fun.
Yeah, no, I like that.
So.
I was gonna ask about Rimfire Steel Challenge, USPSA. There's something else.
3-gun. We talked a little bit about 3-gun.
Yeah, but I think that those are totally different mechanics. It would just be interesting to see where you're at in USPSA. That's all.
The last year I shot USPSA, I ended up winning carry optics at Area 1.
That's awesome.
And my gun broke halfway through the match, and I used a borrowed gun.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
It also tells you how bad all of us are. All the time when I hear these stories, I'm like, cool.
Oh, whatever.
No, that's awesome. That's really cool. I don't remember what I was going to ask you. I was going to ask you about Metal Madness. Have you shot any of those matches yet?
I have not.
Have you seen them?
I have.
Those are hard.
They look difficult. I mean, just from the pictures, like don't they have the plates numbered?
They have the plates numbered. They have different heights. They have different order for every single stage and every single shoot house. And so, like, I watched Steve Foster, like, run out of bullets with a revolver on one stage.
Oh my gosh.
I'm like, and he's like, ha ha ha, and he's like reloading. I'm like, yeah, that one's gonna be a toss out because they take the best 8 runs out of 10. So you get two throwaways. Yeah, but I mean, the whole difference is like you're not just moving now left to right and a little bit height. Like it's straight up vertical. They could be side by side, and then they'll put like 1, 2 on this rack and then 3 right in the middle behind it. And if you like ding the wrong order, it drives me nuts. It's fun. It's the most fun, like, giggle fest, but it is very hard to master. And like, so you talk about rimfire being like the test. I think Metal Madness is in completely league of its own, but yeah, but it's not.
I'll have to try it. Yeah, I'll have to try it out. They've asked Volquartsen to be a sponsor for it and have us come out. We haven't had the time or chance to go out and do it. So
well, I'm forced to go with Brian every year in Kentucky next year. So like, make it that match, and then this year we did a bet. Me and Brian, I won. Gotta say that. Very excited about it.
Heck yeah.
Actually, this is funny. So this was live, and we don't condone betting, but for Metal Madness is funny because Brian and I made this bet of whoever had the fastest time. We shot the same gun out of his van. And neither of us shoot Metal Madness. Well, the winner got $100 and whatever the other person picked off the prize table. So Brian, I got a whole firearm that
there you go.
I haven't even shot, but this thing is sweet. I'm like,
that's awesome,
right? That's actually my first 10/22 rifle, so that's a confession.
What?
Yeah, I grew up totally different. Like I grew up actually with shotgun. I still have a 20 gauge, but I never got to shoot like rimfire or anything. I went revolvers and shotgun and pistol and skipped over that.
Yeah.
Yeah, 30 years old, got my first rimfire gun. 29, but yeah. Well, anyways, Kolby, thanks for coming on. I know we've kind of gone in different directions, but is there anything else that you want to add, you know, for new shooters listening or people that are wanting to work in the industry, or anything else you want to leave people with?
I think for new shooters, don't be afraid to ask questions. I know, like, when I first started, it was a little intimidating, but make sure to ask questions because that's a big way to, like, move forward in the sport. And just be friendly with people. Don't be arrogant and cocky. No one likes it. Yeah,
that's the hardest part with our industry, to grow. You never know who is going to be that first impression for all of us. So yeah, it's really important. Well, Kolby, how can people find you on social media to follow you and ask questions?
Instagram is just Kolby Pavlock, and same with my YouTube page. So
very cool. Well, buddy, thanks for coming on. I know you didn't know me very well, but
hopefully I had a good time. Thanks for having me again.
Absolutely. All right, guys, go follow him. Go ask Kolby questions, though, for sure, because he is the best at what he does. But yeah, thanks for listening, and tune in to next week's episode of the Reticle Up Podcast.
Thanks for listening to the Reticle Up Podcast. Be sure to subscribe wherever you get your podcasts and on YouTube. Follow along on social media at Reticle Up or 3 Gun Kenzie.